2015 Toyota 4Runner, and we're gonna be changing the differential and transfer case fluids. Will be pretty short and straightforward guide with the torque specs and all the tools and parts you need for that job. In advance, this is the list of the tools: 24mm 6-point socket, 12mm 6-point socket, 10mm Allen socket, explicitly a socket, oil transfer pump, torque wrench, 6 quart of gear oil, which goes from the OEM LT75W85GL5, which is crazy expensive, or equal, which could be any brand as long as and it's 75W85 or 75W90. We're going to be using Valvoline gear oil. Then we're going to need a new washers and bolts. Parts number are going to be in description below. And the last but not least important one, it's a rubber gloves. The differential fluid is pretty stinky and sticky, and from some sources it can cause a skin cancer. So try not to dip your hands into the gear oil. Also, all of that information is going to be in description below as the tools, parts, and the torque specs, so feel free to check it out in the description, but let's get to the job. The first step is to elevate the car. In many cases, you can work from the ground level, but jacking the car makes it much faster and easier. We use the ramps, which is also a safe option. You can get them from Walmart or AutoZone, or just order online. Also keep in mind that the car needs to be somewhat level. Nothing bad gonna happen if it's not gonna be 100%, but better if it's kind of precise. We're starting from the rear differential. And right away, the pro tip, make sure to always start from the fill plug. In case of stripping the bolt head, the car still be drivable, versus if you remove the drain plug and drain the gear oil and then strip the fill plug, you'll be screwed. So always start from the fill plug first. For this one, I start recording a little late, so there's not going to be a footage of removing the bolts, but you can clearly see where they're going to be. The drain and the fill bolts are 24mm, be careful with them and make sure to align the wrench on the bolts to reduce the chance of stripping. Let the oil drain for 5 to 10 minutes, and meanwhile clean the bolts if you're not replacing them. The drain bolts have magnets and usually have little bit of metal shavings on them. It's pretty normal as long as there are no big chunks of metal. Now we need to get the new washers. For the rear differential, both washers are crush washers, or the silver one, this type. After oil is drained, install the drain bolt first and then tighten it to 36 foot-pound of torque. Actually, fill and drain plug gonna have the same torque for the rear differential, but not for the other. Use the transfer pump to pump the oil in differential. There should be about 2.9 US quarters for non-lockable differential and 2.8 for lockable. If the car is level, you can fill it up until it starts dripping from the fill plug. As a pro tip, after it starts leaking, do another pump to make sure that the diff is full of oil. Sometimes the feed line from the transfer pump can cause the oil drip before the diff is full. Don't know the physics behind that, but it happened. So fill her up till she drips. Let the leftovers to drain and install the fill plug with the new crush washer or the silver washer. Again, the torque spec is 36 foot-pound. Next one is the transfer case. Same process, and the bolts here will be even looser than the rear differential. And again, I was a little late to record, but for the transfer case, the torque will be 27 foot-pound for the fill and the drain bolt. Although the washer gonna be different, which is regular flat washer, not the copper one and not the crush washer, which is the silver one. This one is gonna be aluminum flat washer. And again, install the drain plug first, pump 1.1 US quarter for part-time 4-wheel drive, or 1.5 US quarter for full-time 4-wheel drive, or till it drips. Install the fill plug with 27 foot-pound of torque. The last one is the front differential. For that one, we'll need to remove the skid plate that holds with the 4 12mm bolts. The front diff is going to be a little different in terms of the fill and a drain plug. They're going to be 10mm Allen, fill and a drain plug. Those will be much tighter, and in many cases they are pretty stuck. So what you can do here in advance is to soak them a little with WD-40 and make sure that the inner hole is clean and well accessible for the Allen socket. Also, it's best to use the socket rather than just angled Allen tool. Make sure it's snug. Couple taps with the hammer should do the trick, or up until you hear the solid sound of metal. Another good tip is to use the rubber hammer in combination with the ratchet. In that case, you're imitating the impact gun. In theory, when you do that, you send in a micro vibrations with the whack of hammer, and that breaks the inner corrosion easier, as well as getting you a higher success chance as long as you do it the right way. Now let the fluid drain for a bit. Meanwhile, clean the plugs if you're not replacing them. Also, you can see the metal shavings on the drain bolt that's stuck to the magnet. Like I said before, it's normal, but be aware of bigger chunks. So for the front diff washers, the drain plug will use the copper washer and the fill plug use the crash washer or silver washer. The torque is different for the fill and the drain plug. The drain plug torque is 48 foot-pound and the fill plug is 29 foot-pound. At this stage we're done. Hope you liked the video, and if so, please hit the like button and subscribe. We'll have a couple more videos coming on this car, as well as I already have an exhaust replacement video on SR5, which went pretty smooth, except a little too loud, and started leaking some exhaust fumes, and that's what we're gonna be fixing in the next one. So stay tuned. As always, all the tools and parts in the description below, and the last message for the BMW owners and enthusiasts: I'm still working on the BMW, and this channel is still mainly about BMW and German cars. Nothing changed, it just I took a little pause from that content. It's coming soon. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.